Okay. Take 3. We'll see if I can handle this with the window closed. Okay. Welcome to my glitching reality. Rachel, thank you for messaging me. El appreciato. Okay. It seems incredibly dark, and I'm not sure what's going on with that either. Okay. Let's see if the 4 people that were just here can come back. There's someone. Oh, hi, Rachel. Hello, James. What a day. What a week. I don't know about your reality, but man, something is really going on. I know we've had a lot of little C class and M class flares, but feels like we had the event or something again. Okay. I'm having a hard time seeing myself. Hopefully, you guys can see me okay. There it is, and there you have it. Okay, all four of you are back. I can talk. This should be interesting. I laid down for a second and fell asleep for 2 hours after landscaping today. How's everybody doing? As you can see, I'm having technical problems as usual. And my screen is so incredibly dark. Bear with me 1 second. There we go. I keep turning my screen up like 80 times a day, the brightness, and it just keeps turning itself back down and back off over and over and over again. So I don't know what that's about, but I'm just about over it. Okay, we can see a little bit better. Good enough for now. This video's title is The Unexpected. I've had a lot of unexpected reactions from people lately, and they haven't really been good. And our weather in Cincinnati right now is just absolutely incredible. If I could order the perfect weather, it would be the weather we're having. It's been like between 50 and 55 at night, so you can open all the windows and not have to use any air conditioning or any heat. And then it's been 70 or 80 degrees during the day. Absolutely perfect. Absolutely just amazingly blissed out, super high frequency, happy energy. Yet for some reason, everywhere I go, I seem to create, I won't, negative attention maybe is not is not the right word, but people are incredibly um, unfriendly walking down the street here in my neighborhood. I say hi to people and they just don't even respond. I went into a coffee shop with my friend and they were so unfriendly in there. You know, you never know if it has something to do with you, or usually it's not personal. It has something to do with the other person and what they're going through. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't have any kind of clue energetically, not only what's going on, but that anything is going on. And so I think people have a tendency to feel, crazy, not know to drink water, not know to take a nap when they feel exhausted, just not being aware of things that are going on. Um, but it's been a little bit weird because I don't want to go back to the COVID scenario a couple years ago of just not saying hi or not communicating with people at all, just because they seem to be so incredibly unfriendly. Um, yeah, it's been really intense. The energy is intense, and we talk about that all the time. The intensity of this energy is never going to stop, I suppose, until we're completely through the series of solar flashes now. And I've been talking about pre-event energy and small events and people, groups of people simultaneously experiencing the event in advance as a way to walk others through it. Energetically, we're experiencing it as if it were some sort of domino effect. So we're not all feeling the same thing at the same time. Now, everything, as we know, in the third dimension is an illusion. So the question then is, if everything is an illusion, then what part of reality do we want to pay attention to? Or what part of reality do we want to give our energy to? Something really funny happened, and this is an example of how everything is just an illusion. My family has been super into comedy for decades, and as a child at home, my parents watched Saturday Night Live very religiously, even though they didn't really watch a lot of television at all. So Saturday Night Live, In Living Color, Whose Line Is It Anyway? Just loved comedy. So it definitely runs through the family veins, right? Everybody has an incredible sense of humor in the family, right? So my family's always been super into comedy. And I think it was in the 90s when everything in the news seemed to be about crack and crack problems and crack addiction. And this is going to sound really strange, but everybody in my family is an incredible cook, and none of us really cook the same way. We have a lot of similarities, but everyone loves to cook, and certain parts of us also love to bake, right? So when my brother came back, moved from Maryland back to Cincinnati, I lived with him and his three kids and my son. And we had um, Sunday night dinner for the entire family. Me and my brother cooked Sunday night dinner for the entire family, and the kids usually helped. Almost always helped one or two of them, sometimes all of them. So, because of all of this comedy and all these references to crack, I can't remember honestly if it was me or my brother. But one time we were in the kitchen and we were cooking something, and we were in the kitchen going, "Oh my God, this is crack." Well, so my brother's three kids and my son have heard this forever, okay, since they were babies. This is crack. This cake is crack, or this coffee is crack. And then the kids would always say, "Oh, you need your morning crack," referring to coffee, right? To me and my brother. So this went on. I lived with them for about 4.5 years. And so in the decade, in the whole last decade, maybe 15 years, my family is referring to anything that's so absolutely amazingly delicious in the kitchen as crack. So the kids had been in the Loveland school system when they moved back from Maryland for probably 3.5, almost 4 years. When we got a call from the principal one day, and my brother had him on speakerphone because I was listed as the other parent or legal guardian. And the guidance counselor and the principal were on the phone together, and they said, "This is really serious." And we're like, "Oh my God." Because the kids, I mean, they were young kids, right? They were, when we got this call, let's say, I want to say they were 9, 10, and 13. So the principal and the guidance counselor called us, and they said that the kids, that somebody reported my brother's kids to the principal's office because they said last night's dinner was real crack. So the guidance counselor and the principal called us, and like I said, me and my brother on speakerphone with them, and they said that, your kids won't stop talking about crack. And so me and my brother, of course, we burst out laughing. We were trying to hold back. And the principal said, "This is no laughing matter." And he said that the kids tried to explain themselves, and the kids didn't know what was going on because the kids have no idea what crack really is, right? So they just think, oh, we're talking about our parents cooking here. So the principal was like really weird and very standoffish with us. Anyway, the comedy runs through the family and it's unstoppable. But we were trying to explain to the principal and the guidance counselor that everybody in my family, we're all amazing cooks and amazing bakers, and that the kids were just talking about food. They weren't actually talking about crack, and obviously the kids weren't doing drugs and didn't look neglected, but the guidance counselor and the principal did not find it funny at all. And Anna, who was I think 10, tried to tell the principal, "No, I'm just talking about food or coffee or whatever." But anyway, everything is an illusion, right? And to the kids, the illusion was, and again, obviously they have no idea what crack is. Um, they just thought everything that tasted amazing was crack. So to the principal and the guidance counselor, that was an illusion that the Hammond family was doing crack for dinner or whatever, when in actuality we're just really good cooks. So they didn't quite get it, and they really didn't think it's funny. But my only point in sharing that is, maybe watch what you say around your kids. Now, we've just been saying that since the 90s. So, when we all had kids, I guess we just, didn't stop saying it. And then the kids picked up that habit as well. My son did not go to school and say that because my son knew a little bit better, and we lived in the inner city, and he was aware of drugs and what that actually meant. So even though he said it at home, he didn't say it at school. So, if everything is the illusion that we know it is, what are we making an effort to participate in? And where are we putting our energy? Where are we spending our time? Where are we spending our resources? And what energy are we giving to the illusion? So, if the illusion is the third dimension in itself, that means the other things that you hear, that you feel, and that you see are what are actually more real than what you see with your eyes, or what you perceive from the third dimension. It's very hard for me, and I know for everyone, not to disregard what you feel when there is not one thing in the third dimension um, that supports that feeling, or that knowing, that intuition, that gut feeling, whatever it is, however you would like to put that, whatever you would like to call it. So, most of what's going on in reality for a huge chunk of us at this moment is that the things in our knowing and in our feeling are the things that are real. And the third dimensional overview, is not actually what is going on. So the third dimension is more an immediate representation of your direct energy, I will say. But it's what the third dimension now is what has already happened in the higher dimensions, if that makes sense. I think it does. So, what we're seeing now is the energy that we've already put out. Now, I have become an incredible manipulator of reality in the last many years. This last year has been definitely off the charts for manifestation. And what I mean by manipulating reality is constantly ordering what I feel like I need. And I don't say the same thing all the time. But for example, if I'm going to the bank drive through, I order no line at the bank drive through. If I have to be on the road or the highway, the freeway for any extended amount of time, I order safe, friendly drivers, because it's come to the point where most days when I get on the highway, if I haven't placed that order, as soon as I put my seatbelt on, I feel like I need a sedative to drive the way people have been driving lately. The best way I can describe it is people are driving like I have nothing left to lose, which is scary to the people who feel like they have every reason to be here and everything to gain, and are a little bit taken aback by those people with that attitude that there's nothing left to lose. Now, I imagine that there's an incredible amount of negative things going on in the news cycle feed that I'm completely unaware of, because I know everything is an illusion and I'm not giving energy to the third dimensional illusion. But as I said, it can be incredibly difficult to focus on what you're hearing and what you're feeling and that knowing within you. Because when we first start to converse with our higher self, it's kind of like meeting someone for the first time. When you meet your higher self for the first time, it's little words or little snippets, and then it gets longer, and you trust that process more, and you get more in depth conversations, and it just keeps going and going and going. Now, spirit, higher self, whatever name you would like to call it, I never get hung up on titles. That conversation becomes longer and longer. The messages become clearer and less deciphering is needed until the point where that higher self just resides in here all the time and I don't need to call it forth. A year or two ago, before I would make a video, I would call higher self in. What is the message? What do we need to hear? What is important for us to know. That's why the majority of the times these videos are untitled or have a title that doesn't go with the information that comes out in the video, because I don't know what's going to come out in the video. So your connection with higher self starts as words, simple phrases, short sentences, and higher self starts out like you meeting someone for the first time, like meeting a brand new acquaintance, right? And then we build up that trust, and it's me trusting the fact that my higher self, or the spirit, the go between my physical vessel on earth and my soul, it's the relay system bringing you messages. What are your contracts? What feels good? What is your direction? What are you doing? Until higher self goes from being initially like an acquaintance, um, to maybe a guide or someone that you call on occasionally, and then works itself into a friend, and then becomes your best friend. And so, a lot of times, what will happen when you get to the point where your higher self becomes your best friend, your friends will notice that you have stopped communicating, or you communicate less, or you have dropped out of your friend circle, even dropped out of your family circle. Perhaps it's something you can't explain, right, to anybody. Because if you said, "Oh, I'm in a new relationship," or "I just started dating someone," um, or "I met a really cool person and I have a best friend for the first time in a really long time," if you say that to someone, they'll understand, what you're doing with your time, or how you're spending with your time, or how you're adjusting or assimilating to a new relationship. But it's not something most of the time that you can explain to most people, that the connection between the body and the soul is a spiritual journey, a conversation, a connection that starts like an acquaintance and turns into a best friend. So when your higher self or spirit turns into your best friend, you will start dropping off the radar for so many people. Um, because what you found, the support that you find in other people, is now coming from in here. I totally agree with you. Yes, the synchronicities are absolutely off the chart. So everything is becoming pretty instant, right? So I was riding with one of my friends to the bank, and she said, how come there's never any line in the bank? Because the bank I go to is in the college town, the next town over. And that bank is always busy. So she asked me, how do you never get a line in this bank? And I said, before I get in the car, I order no line at the bank. Or if I'm going somewhere that's almost impossible to park, um, I order a place to park right in front of that business, things like that. So those things are happening instantly. All connections, all spiritual connections on this journey are happening in a simultaneous way, just like I order no line at the bank or a place to park next to the post office. Synchronicities are working that same way. So maybe you've been, leaning towards something or really putting your strength into something. Um, for a while, and you notice now that when you think about it, it becomes instant. Um, Today, when I was in the car, I was talking about how my mom's law firm, from the dog attack we had 3 years ago, their phone number is 444-4444. And they had sent her an additional check for $443. And I was saying to this person, the law firm's number is 44444, and they cut her a check for 443. Like, they should have threw in the dollar just like for the PR, just for the synchronicity of it. And as soon as I said that, the billboard in front of me was Blake Maislin, attorney at law, 444-4444. So it's like absolutely instant. And as most of you know, higher self or spirit, when it's relaying what's coming, it's because it knows what's coming. Because people have said to me so many times, well, you didn't know the billboard of the wedding dress was going to be around the corner. You surely don't think they threw that billboard up for you, or whatever that sign or synchronicity is, right? But your higher self knew that that billboard was coming, and that's what prompted you to ask the question. So that's how that worked. And yes, the synchronicities are off the chart, and the good vibration is extremely high. Um, and it is difficult to not take it personal when out in public, because here's what I've known since 2014. And I discovered this through having a boss that didn't like me, even though I worked my absolute ass off. I was always on time and never called in sick. I worked there for 4 years. And she didn't like me. And it actually took me, I think, 2 years into my 4 years of working there to realize why she didn't like me. And one day I just opened the door and I saw her and she saw me. I hadn't even walked in the room yet. And I saw what I did to her internally. There was something that just about me being happy while being at work that was energetically disruptive to her, right? So it's a frequency gap. And it's not like you say, okay, well, obviously we're not all at the same frequency and we're not all on a frequency every day at the same time. It doesn't work like that. We're in constant fluctuation, just like the sun, just like the earth, just like all the heavenly cosmic bodies around us. We're in constant fluctuation. But when the energy is good and the weather is beautiful and people feel happy, they're on a general basic happiness mode, if you will. So my energy of running down the street, smiling, dancing, doing whatever crazy thing I happen to be doing, when I meet somebody who's, and again, doesn't have to be an exact vibrational match. We're not going to, there are not that many vibrational matches to a frequency, but it's a bandwidth of frequency. So let's say we're in a band with a frequency of the note of D, right? And then we might run into someone that's on a totally different frequency where there's enough of a gap that it feels like if you're playing the guitar or playing the piano, you would hit two notes at the same time, that are really, really off, right? If you've ever played the piano or any instrument, guitar or anything, that you can hit two notes at the same time that don't sound good. They sound disharmonic, if you will. So that's what's happening when we walk around in public. And I've been noticing this my entire life. It got a lot stronger after 2012. I have never seen anything be the way it was this week. I'm just saying hi to people, in the stores, on the streets. And I get one of two reactions. I get the person looks at me like I can't believe that I said hi to him or I greeted him, or there's zero acknowledgement, like they have not even heard it. Now, whether they're ignoring me or totally not hearing me, I'm not sure. So, the frequency on the planet changes with the movement of the planets, with the cosmic energy that's coming in from the sun, central suns, the placements of where the planets are, the sextiles, the trines, everything that's going on affects the energy of Earth. So that puts different bandwidths on Earth. So it's not like we're walking around in 1,000 different frequencies. We're walking around probably at maybe like about, I would say, 13 different frequencies, right? So if I'm on the frequency of the note of D, doesn't mean that it would be disharmonic with C or with E. It's just that there are certain vibrational fields playing out at this time that are a disharmonic resonance, like playing two notes on the piano or the guitar that just simply don't go together, or sound almost like nails on a chalkboard kind of thing. So, but I'm noticing for me, especially this week, it's been really, really hard. I'm not saying I never get sad or I never cry or any of those things. That's really far from the truth. What I am saying is it's a continual effort. When 2 feet go on the floor in the morning out of bed, the first thing I say is, thank you for another day on beautiful planet Earth. I get up, I allow myself to drink my coffee, be slow, be relaxed for maybe a half hour, and then I do yoga, and then I pick it up with qigong, and then I turn it up as fast as I can, and I do the hula hoop, and then I go work outside. And sometimes after that, if I have enough energy after doing my own yard and my own garden, I will then go out and take a walk on top of it. So you could see how that energy frequency connected on a certain bandwidth, um, of the joyous vibe, right? Every single amazingly beautiful thing that we do personally for ourselves, for our mental, physical, emotional health, um, makes that musical note louder for us. Okay. So if I'm on D in the morning and I wake up and I say, thank you for another day on beautiful planet Earth, I'm still on D. But as I do all the things that I do to start out my day, I do that to give myself the mindset and to, for one, to move your body, intentionally move your body, pull in new air, exhale, and let go of old energy, of even yesterday's energy, or how long things can be stored at a cellular level. Everything that I do, whether it's, calming or um, the opposite of calming, because hula hooping will really get you going. It's like I have to kind of walk slow when I get done with that. You it's almost like you've just gotten up off a ride that goes upside down 20 times or something, because I do it really fast and I do it for usually 30 to 40 something minutes. So everything that I'm doing is making the musical note that I'm already on, of this new energy, this cosmic life breath that's coming to us from the movements of the planet. And it doesn't mean you won't have a bad day, it doesn't mean you won't be sad, it doesn't mean you won't cry. It just means that you are in a certain frequency band, and we have lots of other frequency bands on this planet simultaneously making a song. And some days that song is very harmonious and melodic, and some days it's very chaotic, like a heavy Rachmaninoff piece or something. Um, and for me, I know that it's been hard to feel good and want to say hi and want to be full of joy and have people react to me. So if I'm waking up on a letter D and everything I'm doing to take care of myself is making that musical note louder and louder and louder as my day progresses, um, it can be disharmonic with other things, for sure. The thing about the energy right now, and you guys know I'm not an astrologist, I can talk. Um, I feel the movement, and that translates into something. I've been thinking on and off about going into going into astronomy, or astrology, I'm sorry, because I can feel in the ethers, in the cosmos, in astronomy itself, what is going on, and that translates. Um, I'm just, and I've been going back and forth about this for probably the past year and a half, just because I pick up on so much wisdom that comes directly from the movement of the planets. I think sometimes I could be of more assistance, more benefit to the whole if I was to actually study that and not just pull it in and randomly doing it, which is what I've been doing my whole life. However, there is something really to that randomness that pulls in the unexpected information without study. So, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with studying anything, being an engineer or an astrologist, astronomist, all of it. I'm just saying, for me, one of the reasons why it's been so easy, and my body, mind, spirit, and all the way down to a cellular level is open to this information, is because I have studied so very few things. So I might get a message and think, well, that's in quantum physics, that makes no sense, or scientifically, that's not even true. I wouldn't know that because I purposely have avoided the subjects in which I receive information because I wouldn't believe what I receive. And hadn't, if I was not able to believe what I was receiving, I would have not ever been able to get on here and share this. And I've been going back and forth about the astrology thing really hard for the last year and a half. So we have 13 bands of frequency on this planet at the moment, and you can connect to more than one frequency band at a time. Okay, that's called ADD. And a big reason for the invention of ADD medicine, and I believe that they have full awareness. Okay, and I'm not saying your doctor or your family practitioner has full awareness, but those who incepted the idea of medicating this gift, because it is an absolute gift. Okay, so if we have 13 bands of frequency, and you can connect to any one of those bands at any time by speaking it, by thinking it, by feeling it, by intentionally connecting to it, you can do it any one of those ways. Or if you're open and relaxed, especially the more you move around, the more it seems to be able to come in, the more open you seem to be. So we have these 13 frequency bands on the planet. ADD is when you connect to more than one band at the same time. So for me, when I'm doing this, I might be hearing something within the collective. I might be hearing what's going on at the sun, and then I am hearing a third dimensional conversations going on around me. So in this attention deficit disorder is what they call it, but really I think it should be called like attention to multiple sources, because that's really what it is. So I had to learn how to say, okay, well, right now I really want to listen to my date across the table having a conversation with me. I don't really want to listen to the people around me or the collective consciousness or whatever. So it takes a real concerted effort to pick what frequency you want to tune into in that moment. Or it took a real concerted effort when I realized what was going on, when I realized what the ADD was. And I have never been prescribed medication for it. But my son's teacher did want to put him on it. And then I found out when Zach had his 5th birthday party or 6th birthday party, I think it was 1st grade. Yeah, it was 6. Um, there was 31 kids in the class, and Zach's best friend in the class at 6 years old was the other person that was a single mom who was like kind of shy and quiet and reserved. And the teacher, and I would have never found this out, but that person, his best friend's mom, came to the birthday party and stayed, and we were chatting about the teacher, and she said that my son Zach and her son Aaron were the only kids in the entire class that were not on medicine for ADD, which I found mind blowing. It's a drug they're definitely pushing. And I believe they're pushing it for 2 reasons. You can always look at Big Pharma's, you know, plan for profit, right? But you have to look at it deeper than that, because I believe, and again, I'm not saying this comes from your family practitioner or anything like that. I'm simply saying that the reason it was invented was because they knew it's like the children. Okay, we have this huge wave that can connect to all 13 bands of conscious awareness, all 13 waves of vibrational frequency on this planet at this time. And I'm not saying, oh, we're just doing it now for the first time. This has been going on, since the inception of humanity, or as long as there's been sentient life, this has been going on. But this is a particular time when they knew that more and more people were going to be able to connect not only to those 13 bands or waves of frequency, but they were also going to be able to connect to each other, all of sentient life, things out there. They also knew that the younger kids, because I think it was when I talked to Ashtar Command, I want to say it was like 2019. He said in 2019 that every child 4 and under was coming in completely turned on. So you could see why they would trying to be pushing that up. So what that ADD medicine does, yes, you can concentrate, but I've never been prescribed the medicine. I learned how to, if I only wanted to focus on Venus, I focus on Venus. If I'm focusing on my date on the other side of the table, I'm focusing on the date on the other side of the table, or whatever is going on. I have to focus on one thing and turn the volume down on all the other waves or planets or whatever, and focus on what it is that I want to do, or what I'm concentrating or focusing on right now. Okay. But what that medicine does to you, and it's even stronger in children, is it makes it so that they cannot connect to the other frequency waves or to the changing conjunctions of the planets, the trines, the sextiles, all that. It cuts it out. So you could see why, and if that's 2019, so every child 8 years and under, according to Ashtar Command, then now would have full capability of connecting to all of those things: Akashic records, the 13 frequency bands on the planet, the movements of the planet, all celestial happenings and going ons within the multiverse. Now, think about that. Because these children are absolute geniuses. I mean, they're composing concertos, they're inventing things for science fair that weren't even invented by an adult with a 6-year education. Yes, a loss of empathy as well on that medication, right? So that medication keeps you at a flat line, out of the cosmos, out of the, planetary movements, out of the 13 waves of information. Um, so that's a big, big reason for pushing that so strongly. So since we know everything is illusion, but what we see in front of our very eyes looks very real, especially this week that has become, this week has been really, difficult's not the right word. I will say it has been tiring, um, in many capacities. Maybe tiring is the better word. Um, trying to, not trying to, but focusing within those situations where there's a big frequency gap, okay, um, between what energy field you're picking up on and what energy field Aunt Betty is picking up on. Because what happens is you're on a certain frequency, right? And Aunt Betty is more in a frequency. Let's say Aunt Betty is like really worried about something or really harping on a problem or something like that. Okay. So not only is she struggling with something or having a problem, when she comes in contact with you, let's say if you're connecting to a higher frequency band or a different a resonation of frequency band, the only way I can describe it is when I saw it in my boss, when I finally figured out 2 years into the 4 year job, what it was about me. I mean, I just couldn't figure out what it was for such a long time. And one day I opened the door and I saw her and I saw what happened to her body on a cellular level internally when she sees me. I agitate her, right? The mere fact that I'm like super open was really, really agitated to her. Because I was super open, every single person that worked there absolutely loved me. People always wanted to talk to me. They always came to me for management things, and she was the manager. That was kind of another thing that went in with that. But the reason is because if you wanted an answer, everybody knew you went to Tina, you would get the really, really quick, efficient answer instead of getting the long, drawn out, you should have known this by now kind of crap. So when it comes to you and Aunt Betty and you're on one frequency and she's in a frequency of fear or concern or worry or something, your actual frequency will even, she'll feel like something's wrong, or maybe you're not listening to her, or you don't like her, or you're not concerned about what her problem is. That people misread the frequency band that you're on if there's a gap. Now, again, I'm not saying in 13 waves that we're all, even on the first wave, on the note D, for example, and Aunt Betty's on like a B flat, and it just makes this horrible sound. But it is the fact that even without an exact match in frequency, just being on the same band, you can have a conversation and understand each other. But when someone's on a very different frequency from you, your frequency will agitate that person. Doesn't have to be the way you look or the things that come out of your mouth or anything else. The frequency band that you're on will agitate someone, who is in fear, worry, concern, anything like that. So I just wanted you to know that I've been, we've all been experiencing that for a really long time, but I'm sure that many of you like me, and I don't get out of the house a whole lot, but every time I do, it's a big thing. I'm definitely not saying it's everybody. I meet some people and instantly just start up a conversation like I've known them all my life and then, walk away and never see them again. There's a lot of that going on as well. I'm having, some pretty incredibly amazing conversations with the people I work with and the people I work for as well. This time, though, is about specifically, that's really strange. June, ADD, focus. There's two lights outside my window that appear to be chasing each other, but they're really not. anyway. This time, June, July, all the way up June, July, and August, communication is of utmost importance for everyone. Now, a lot of times in communication, we want to say what we think someone wants us to say. Or sometimes we feel like we're the translator. But it's really important to say what you want to say and say what you need to say. Okay, John Mayer. Without distortion. So sometimes we feel a need to make someone understand something or to explain something or to tell someone that they can heal themselves. We have a tendency to walk around and try to fix things that we perceive are broken. But the thing is, the brokenness itself is a perception. So the communication comes down to really paying attention about how you feel when you're speaking to anyone at all, about what they're saying to you and how to respond. And this has come up a couple of times this week, where there was a real need. I felt like, because someone kept asking me the same thing over and over again, and there was a real need to make it clear what the answer was to the question that was being asked of me repeatedly, until a truck drove by and it said in huge letters 2 words: don't push. And I was like, wow. But sometimes when people ask for help and it's not registering because they are on a different frequency wave, because they're asking, we feel the need to explain or like push. But as the truck said, don't push. Communication is so important. So it's a very fine line. Like, I need to say this to you, James, whatever. So I'm going to say it to you. So it's important to communicate and express yourself, but be mindful that you're not pushing past someone's boundary, or I don't even know. It's just come natural to me my whole life to do this. So it's hard for me to explain. When you say something to someone, you can usually get a pretty good gist of, how they feel about it by what their response is or what their body language is or something like that. But if their response is one of not understanding, there's your honk for confirmation. It happens every time. Just don't push people, because there's so much unexpected feeling in the energy. Now, for most of you, when you feel like something unexpected is in the energy, you're going to say, oh, it's something unexpected. I wonder what it is. I'm curious what it is. This could be really good, kind of thing. But know that on other frequency bands, on other frequency waves, when people experience that something unexpected in the air, they might connect it to war, breakup, famine, whatever it is, depending what their mindset and what their frequency wave is. So different people on different frequency waves trying to communicate with the masses. And it's like, I don't even know if there's a word for it. Somewhere in between maybe empathy, perhaps, and answering people to the best of your ability, but then when they're not getting it and keep saying the same thing, not being pushy. But it's important to be able to say things, not hold back when you want to say things. Now, I've also noticed people becoming incredibly pushy in this energy. So I was having a conversation a couple of days ago and I thought, wow, I've stated what's going on with me, what I need right now. I stated that. And the other person was pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. Oh, are you sure you can't do this? Are you sure you don't want to do this? Well, how about this? Or how about doing it for a lesser time? No, I can't do that today. And I knew it would be so much easier I would be a shorter, easier conversation if I just agreed with the person and said, I totally get where you're coming from. But I couldn't do that. I said, just listen, I can't do what you're asking me to do today. And I'm sorry. I most never say no to things that are requested of me. And I actually said that too. But today's just not the day to do it. It's very, very important to find your equilibrium and to find your absolute balance in speaking your truth to those who are asking for it and disseminating information to those who are not. Because we are living in this 3D illusion where most of what we perceive as real in the general masses is what we see with our eyes and hear with our ears. There's a big gap there in perception as well. Because people will ask you things and you may try to explain things to that person. They'll say, well, I just don't see it. I just don't hear it. It's just not on the internet. It's not on the news. And you cannot explain the journey of inner knowing to someone else. So this energy of unexpected to some of us makes us feel like, oh wow, something really cool is about to drop. We may be thinking about disclosure. We may be thinking about something that's getting offered to us in a relationship or in our job, or some new opportunity or some new amazing place to live. That's how the brain is working on a certain frequency band, but also know that very unexpected energy, when some people feel it, they feel like something's about to happen, something's about to go wrong. In an unexpected energy, a certain frequency is going to assume that the unexpected is positive and know that it's positive and everything is working towards our benefit. But the people who are not on that frequency wave, when they feel that unexpected, it's going to show up as anxiety, something's going to happen, something bad's about to go down, and they'll pinpoint it to whatever in the world they are giving their attention to. So it's super important for you to know that. The bands of frequency, the 13 waves of frequency, are becoming incredibly loud. And what I'm noticing, as the band or that frequency or that musical note gets louder, the outside world is getting calmer. I have never, you guys, been able to make a video on a Friday night with all my windows open. I always have to close them because there's honking and speeding and yelling and music and all kinds of things. So the louder these 13 frequency waves are getting, the quieter the third dimension is getting. It's Friday night. I don't know what time it is. It's probably close to 10 o'clock. And you could hear a pin drop in the middle of the city right now. Know that this unexpected energy may make you feel like everything you've ever wanted and been working on manifesting is about to come to you. And that's because it is. But know that not everyone perceives the unexpected in a positive way. Because there are a lot of people like, oh my God, something really unexpected. Like, oh, I feel it in my gut. Something's wrong. Something bad is about to happen. Because when people have an intuitive hit, when their intuition, is initially turned on, or, just when they come in, when we're born on this planet, because we're all born with intuition. The more we listen to it, the stronger it becomes, until we just end up anchoring spirit or higher self into the physical body. And then the soul is in the physical body maneuvering around. But everybody is not, on the same frequency as that. So the unexpected energy, the unexpected joy, the unexpected manifestation, things that you've been working on for a really long time. I cannot tell you what the alignment of the planets right now are, but I can tell you that it's super lucky, it's super prosperous, it's super abundant. And whatever it is that you've been working on through any ways and means of manifestation, that you've been working on it, has the energy of coming fully into fruition right now. And so that for you on a certain frequency band is what you're going to be picking up on. There is a message, there is an offer, something is about to happen, totally unexpected, totally out of the blue. Now, I can tell you this too. The other thing that's in this energy right now is this unexpected thing. You might be thinking, oh, I've been manifesting this certain job or this certain geographical move, location, something like that. So in this unexpected energy, you might be thinking, oh, well, this must be the move, or, this must be the job opportunity, or whatever it is. I'm going to say to you, it's way bigger than you think, and it's more unexpected than you think it's going to be. It's this energy of like when pigs fly, for example, right? Or whatever some of those other sayings are about, the impossibility, you know. And I mean things like, I can't really think of anything to even compare it to, but whatever you've been working on manifesting, the manifestation is part of it. The other part is you have to communicate honestly and openly to yourself. What is it that I want? What is it that where I'm going? When this offer, this person, place, or thing comes into me, how am I going to react to it? What am I going to say to it? Now, we don't need to, be writing any doctoral thesis or anything like that. What I'm saying is, this is the energy of absolute shocking things showing, people, places, and things showing up in your life. Things, I won't say things you thought could never happen, but that's what it feels like. Because for a certain part of the population on certain frequency bands, it would be the energy of, oh my God, I can't believe this would ever happen for me, or I would have never expected that to happen. On our particular frequency wave at this time, like me, I think that you, and I feel that you are expecting it, but I'm saying it's going to come in even wilder, more passionately, more abundantly, and more perhaps even instantaneously than you thought. So make sure that when you communicate with that other, person, place, thing, whatever's going on, whatever your manifestation is that you are clear to yourself about what you want, right? Now, here's the perfect example of that. Let's say so a couple of us went out to sing in a bar the other night. It was totally unexpected. We were walking down the street, we heard live music, and we were like, oh, that sounds really good. Let's go check it out. And it ended up being karaoke, and I ended up singing. That was totally unexpected, right? And awesome. Life should be spontaneous and joyous whenever you possibly can. So, the unexpected thing is like, for example, I know I'm manifesting a certain person, place, thing, right? So let's say I'm manifesting a certain relationship situation. And let's say at karaoke, I've got, people talking to me, wanting to go out with me, making offers. I'm just using this for an example. Um, I already know where I'm going with this. I already know what I want. So for me, I don't entertain other people, places, and things that are not on that manifestation list. If that makes sense. Okay. So I'm not playing around. I'm not going to say, oh, well, I'm in love with this person, but, I'm just going to date, Johnny from the restaurant or whomever in the interim while this person's not here yet. So I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to Okay, so the thing about this is it is not because I'm in the energy of waiting for something else or someone else, or I don't know the best way to say this. Okay, manifestation is about sending out a signal and receiving back the signal that matches that and therefore creates it. So if I say, I'm in love with a certain person and I want this kind of relationship, for example, and then I go out to the bar and I start talking to everybody and flirting with other people and start dating other people that are not that manifestation, that is confusing to God, source, the universe, the quantum field of magic. Okay, so anything that we're doing, you want a certain job, then you focus on that job and you don't, someone comes up to you and say, oh well, yeah, okay, I'll take that job for now while I'm waiting. No, you're making your energy field confusing to people, places, and things, right? So that's the dating example. That's just the easiest one. But with anything I say, that's why I don't, if I want a certain relationship, if I'm in love with a certain person, I'm not going to entertain, date, go out with, drink with, have dinner, whatever, with things that are not that, because that sends a mixed signal to myself, to my spirit, to my soul, right? What am I doing? I'm just playing around like I'm, again, not the energy of waiting, but when I know what I want, this, this, and this won't do, right? So there are so many things to do and so many things that we could be focusing on. Um, a lot of times humanity plays the in the meantime game. I'm in love with this person, but in the meantime, I think I'll go have dinner with Johnny, or I think I'll, move in with Karen, or whatever it is. If you're doing that in any sector of your life, you're giving yourself, your spirit, your soul, a mixed signal, and the universe a mixed signal, and you're going to get a mixed signal back. So if you're working on, the relationship, like I said, is the perfect example because it's the easiest for me, I think, to understand. If you're if you're in love with Johnny, then you don't give your energy to all these other people. Again, you're confusing your own energetic field, and you're confusing the energy that you're putting out is confusing. You cannot expect to receive exactly what is in line with the frequency of your highest desires and the dreams and the highest version of yourself if you're entertaining all these other things in the meantime, just playing around while you're waiting for that job, for that move, um, for that whatever that thing is. Now, we all have situations in life where we're working a job till we're waiting for the other job or finishing our lease or whatever. So I'm not saying that to do or be or say anything extreme here. What I'm saying is when you are, wow, an orb just went by the camera. When you are focusing, ADD, focusing on a person, place, or thing that is your manifestation, you're talking, you're walking, everything should be in alignment with that manifestation. And so if you're playing this game of, I'll date this person in the meantime, or I'll do this shitty job that I hate in the meantime, don't play the in the meantime job in any capacity that you don't have to. Like I said, sometimes in 3D, we break up or we separate or we end our lease or whatever, and we have to do those things to start something else. But when you play that in the meantime game, when you're working on manifestation, it is a mixed signal that slows down your manifestation. So important, very unexpected. And again, when I say unexpected, I don't mean like, you know, it's beyond something you didn't expect. And again, I could use the phrase beyond your wildest dreams because we've heard it our whole life. But in my wildest dreams, these manifestations that I've been working on, those wildest dreams are what is coming. And again, I will say, when pigs fly or whatever expression you want to use personally. Um, It's coming faster, it's coming stronger, it's coming more abundantly, more fervently than we realize. And I think many of us are feeling this, whatever this wish, whatever this dream, whatever this, I'm free and I can do whatever I want to do, right? That's what's coming. It's an offer that's coming. Okay. It's a lot of movement and a lot of offers that are coming into your life. And you know it. You already know it. And you're feeling it. And that's what the unexpected and the energy is. Your higher knowing that a message is coming, a person, place, or thing, situation is coming to you that you've been working on manifesting. Okay. A sudden, abundant, abrupt, loving, nurturing, caring message is coming to you very unexpectedly. Okay. Don't be your own thief in the night on your manifestation. If you are working on something, manifesting something, don't take away from that wealth or that abundance. Don't be a thief of your own wealth of abundance by saying, in the meantime of waiting for Johnny, or in the meantime of this dream job, or in the meantime of moving to Hawaii, I'm going to play this other game, because that other game confuses you at this level, at a cellular level, and confuses universe, source, God. The unlimited potential within the quantum field is always giving you back the people, places, and things of the energy that you're putting out. So it's super important to be still and listen. And a lot of times, most of the time, people play that in between game because they don't want to have silence or nothing or no dating or no job or no house or right. But that's when the silence is really, really needed, because in this unexpected energy that's amping up June, July, and August, the in the meantime game will slow down every manifestation that you're working on. And again, the reason people turn to play this in the meantime, waiting for this, I'll do this, is because they don't want to be quiet. They don't want to be still. I don't want to not date. I don't, want to not have my next place to live picked out, whatever. As humans, we always want to know what's next, what's next, what's next, right? This is a surprise. This is a when pigs fly, unexpected offer, a message. Do not be a thief of your own abundance by being afraid to be alone and in silence in the meantime, okay? Because I know so many of you are feeling this unexpected thing, that this dream come true scenario is about to happen. It's so exciting. And a lot of times we want to give ourselves something to do. It's like if you're sitting in the doctor's office, right? You're not just going to sit there and close your eyes and quietly meditate. You're going to get on your phone. You're going to do every living thing that you can to distract yourself and pass the time. It's so important not to pass the time right now with distraction itself. Pass the time by taking care of yourself. Pass the time meditating, exercising, whatever it is that you need to do for you. Humanity hates silence. The amount of people with constant radio, constant television, constant noise, constantly have to talk to someone, or in someone's presence, they constantly have to be talking. Wow, I can't do that. The unexpected thing that you're feeling, I know it's hard for you to sit there in this energy and say, I'm not going to distract myself. But so this unexpected thing will require a blank slate, or a restart back to zero. Okay. So this opportunity for you is so big that it's a restart, it's a blank slate. And that's why I'm saying, when you when you're starting something brand new, you want to start it brand new. And that's why I'm saying avoid this. I'm just going to do this, this, and this in the meantime, because if you can feel that thing coming, be in gratitude for that thing coming. Meditate, lay there in silence, ride a bike, whatever, listen to the wind, because you know that thing is coming. Your intuition is telling you that that message, those people, those places, those things are coming. And we get sometimes excited and anxious, and we want to fill the time with something while we're waiting for that to happen. But this is so big, and it's so important for that blank slate energy. Wow, my hat's right in alignment with the middle of the map there. Yes, I'm moving as well. So there is something that's huge that's coming to you. Do not be the thief of your own abundance. Make sure when you can feel, and you already feel, this thing is coming. And I'm not saying don't do things to pass the time, but don't use things in this meantime, as I'll call it. Don't use filler things, okay? Maybe that's a better way of saying it. So, only things that are in alignment with what you are manifesting. Otherwise, you will confuse yourself, okay? And you will be putting out a confusing energy. You'll have a confusing energy in your field, and your manifestation will slow down. Throw your hands up in the air and be free, because the wish is coming. But use your time wisely and fill your time with joyous things that are in alignment with what you're manifesting. And as long as you're doing things that are in alignment with what you're manifesting, this energy is potent. It's about communication. It's about receptibility. But the communication and the receptibility is about what you already know to be true, what you already know, what you've already seen, glimpses, images, voices, pictures, all of this that's coming to you is coming to you. Fill your, in the meantime, with things that are in absolute resonance with that manifestation, so that you can be clear in your energy and clear in your message to the source of all creation, what it is that you're creating. Starting to get incredibly hot. What else is new? June, July, and August, all the way up to, and when we say these things, we feel things early. Sometimes we feel like a crescendo, we feel it later. People feel them at different times. The Lionsgate, for me, the two most strongest energies, and the strongest energy, the strongest messages, every year for me, is the Lionsgate on 8/8, and the winter solstice on 12/21. Those are the two strongest energies. So be in joy, be in bliss. And when you see these images or hear these voices or see these people or these new houses or these job opportunities, just say yes, please, and thank you. Do not think that it's not coming because you don't see it with your third dimensional eye, because as I started out to say in the beginning of this video, everything that we see with our eyes is an illusion. What we intuit is more real, and what we feel is more real than anything that we will ever see. This is coming. It's going to be so much grander than you ever expected. I love you. Thank you for being here. And until next time.